What is the strongest orc weapon in Warhammer 40K?
When I think of orcs, one of their most signature weapon is that of the lift-a-dropper.
Yeah. What makes the lift-a-dropper so amazing?
It is a structure found in some type of huge battle wagon that's basically a tractor beam, or it could be a claw that will literally pick up enemy vehicles and either fling them at other vehicles, drop them on top of enemy encampments, and it's just an orky, crazy weapon that just fits them, perfectly.
I think the strongest orc weapon on the tabletop has to be the shock attack gun. In the lore, the whole concept is it has like this teleporting thing where it sucks up Gretchens and Grots, teleports them through like the warp, and then shoots them at opponents.
What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwan!
And once again, we're back at it. Once again, we're back at it, answering questions from you guys in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. But question in front of your question, because we get to those questions first. And welcome to Orctober. This is the first day of the celebration that has become very, I guess, orky.
Yeah, it's a yearly thing that we all love to enjoy. Orctober, anything about the meanest, the crumpiest, the strongest Xenos in the galaxy, the orcs.
So let's get into the question. What is the strongest orc weapon in Warhammer 40K?
That's really cool because when I think of orcs, one of their most signature weapon is that of the lift-a-dropper.
Yeah. What makes the lift-a-dropper so amazing?
Because it's not like you would think, oh, a strongest weapon has to be a gun or some type of like massive superstructure. And that's exactly what this is. Like, it is a structure found either on a tyrant of sorts or some type of huge battle wagon that's basically a tractor beam, or it could be a claw that will literally pick up enemy vehicles and either fling them at other vehicles, drop them on top of enemy encampments, and it's just an orky, crazy weapon that just fits them, perfectly.
It's one of my favorite weapons for sure. I don't even think you could play it on the tabletop in 10th edition right now. But back in the day, Forge World models would come with the lift-a-dropper. And I think maybe some mech guns in Legends still have the lift-a-dropper. But yeah, like it's just the concept of a Gargant or even like a Stompa having a lift-a-dropper where they can just pick things up and then drop them would be really funny. And it makes me think of the reality of like, so we've gotten the question before of like how does the Imperium drop Titans?
Mm-hmm.
Or onto the battlefield, because Titans are these massive mega structures. And I think there is some art and there is some lore on like actual machines that like pull them and bring them, and they use like gravity field thingies to like put them down onto the ground. Imagine an orc capturing an Imperial whatever you want to call it, like gravity gun, and then using that as a lift-a-dropper. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah, because not only are you just like picking things up, but you're able to like smash it apart and then fling it with like multiple debris, scattering the battlefields, just eviscerating the enemy. It seems very like, oh, a lift-a-dropper, that can't be one of the strongest things, but like the mayhem that it'll cause is amazing.
Yeah. Now on the tabletop, recently we've been playing a lot more games and I've been using my orcs. I think the strongest orc weapon on the tabletop has to be the shock attack gun. It's a mystery because like you don't know how many shots you're going to get off, but you get a better stat at shooting because you're a mech who's not moving and the weapon is heavy. In the lore, the whole concept is it has like this teleporting thing where it sucks up Gretchens and Grots from the battlefield, teleports them through like the warp, and then shoots them at opponents. So when an opponent is getting attacked by the shock attack gun, they're actually getting attacked by Gretchen as ammo, who have just experienced the horrors of the Immaterium, so they're just like crazy, like wild, and then they just get hit with the face full of, Gretchen and Grots at like hyper like
velocities and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. On that same avenue, I would say the Bubble Chukka is another awesome chaotic orky weapon because just like what's it called? Shock attack gun?
shock attack gun. Yep.
Yeah, this thing fires bubbles that create a force field of warp around enemies, and like the craziest thing can happen. So either like it will ensnare a space marine and like de-atomize him, or it can ensnare a space marine and just make him like feel pleasure. You don't know what you're gonna get. Is it gonna be a tickling sensation, or am I gonna liquefy whatever is inside this bubble?
The crazy part about all orc weapons is that it's just you don't really know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
It's just very destructive to be destructive. On the tabletop back in the day, there used to be charts for the orcs to kind of like how good is the weapon. Like it's either gonna be super crazy, awesome, strength 12, doing some crazy shit, or it's gonna be like super bad and it's gonna hurt the actual
The
wielder.
user, yeah.
Luckily, if you're new to Warhammer 40K, that's not really a problem anymore.
Yeah, they got rid of a lot of like the chaotic tables, the unknowns, and made everything kind of more structured and formal to where you know what's going to happen. You don't have to plan your whole turn for this shock attack gun that at the end of your turn you just wasted it because nothing happened.
Yeah, I think that, which is a good thing because although orcs are supposed to be like the funny kind of faction, you don't want like you want to know that they're going to do some type of damage. You don't want to show up and be like, I could roll really bad and my entire army is just screwed. So, unless the Games Workshop was trying to make you focus on just doing assault orcs, but I don't think they were, especially not 9th and 8th edition when the Bad Moons were like really good shooters.
Yeah.
So. Next question comes from the big one. The folks at the free government clinic I go to every week have been really good to me, so what should I get them to say thank you for saving my family jewels? So if you're trying to get a wargamer or a non-wargamer a present, you should do what we did to our buddy Chalo and get him a starter set, which is now at the Combat Patrols.
Yeah, so anything combat patrols, holidays are coming up, so they're going to be doing holiday bundles. That is a good way of starting because you have a fully playable army, usually an HQ, some battle lines, some troops. Maybe you get lucky and you get some vehicles in there as well, but that is a perfect starting point because then all they need from there is the codex, or you can start building and adding more heavy units, more armor, anti-tank, that kind of thing.
Yep. Next question comes from Chris Moore. He asks, I'm trying to make a 4-way alliance of White Scars, Tau, Eldar, Imperial Guard army. It's a 10k plus army during the Odyssey of Jagatai Khan in the Webway. How do I do it? Oof. You're trying to make an alliance between... I guess it's not that hard to make an alliance between... Like if you're homebrewing your lore and you have White Scars going into the Webway... somehow they're going to meet the Eldar, but the Eldar will only ally with Monkai, right? They're called.
Yeah.
If there's some type of outside threat. So focus on the outside threat. What could that be?
Either the orcs could be a good one, or usually it's the Tyranids because there's no diplomacy with the Tyranids. They're just there to consume. So obviously when you have this threat of ever adapting hungry bugs, you want to ally with those that have common sense.
Yeah, so you can say that the Imperial Guard, the Imperial Guard are facilitating the White Scars, and they get attacked by the Eldar because the Eldar are like, why are you in my webway? But then they get attacked by Nids, and then the White Scars, Jagatai Khan, and the Imperial Guard are like, well, we'll help you guys because we obviously want to know the science to this stuff, but they don't tell the Eldar that. I just don't know how you would tie the Eldar or the Tau into it.
Yeah, unless the Tau were already running from the Tyranids, maybe, and they were using one of their I forgot what device it is, what it's called, but it's like a device to basically create wormholes. Maybe that malfunctioned. They put them in the webway, and that's how they told them about the Tyranids that were coming. I don't know. 40k is such a sandboxy area that you can make almost anything make sense as long as it has a good explanation for it. And obviously the more factions you throw into the pot, the harder it is to get them all working together, because in 40k there's a lot of animosity towards Xeno, especially when it's humanity there, so it's harder to make these alliances. But I think the threat to the Tyranids will make anybody work together. I mean, how the Blood Angels and the Necrons had to work together to take on the Tyranids at one point.
Yeah, I also think that you throwing in the webway concept is a little bit hard to.
Yes,
to
that's very, because not everybody has access to the webway.
Yeah, especially the Tau. The Tau are notorious for being like super, not backwards, but they're not there yet in terms of faster than light travel. But good question. Next one, you got one?
Yeah, I got one from the OG Gija Ninja, the Night Lords. How come they didn't fall to chaos?
They did.
They did, yeah. Maybe you're meaning why didn't they fall to like a specific chaos god? And that's interesting because you would think that the gods would probably want to try and get as much followers as possible. So it doesn't really make sense why there's only one legion for each chaos god.
Other than plot, right?
Yeah, other than plot and not to have too many cookies in the same jar, so to speak. But if the Night Lords were to join one of the gods, who do you think would make the most sense for them?
I think that's really hard because, like, they can. I mean, they're espionage masters, right? They're masters of terror and all that kind of stuff. So that's scheming, Zinch.
Yeah, I think even though they don't really use psychic powers like that, Slanesh would. I don't think so.
Well, I actually think that Slanesh would be a good one, just because when you think of terror, you think of like macabre, like things that Slanesh would do.
Yeah, that does make sense because I mean they do get pleasure from like terror and pain and stuff like that. Because Nurgle won't fit them.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and I mean Khorne kind of because I mean they do some very gruesome things to their enemies.
Blood.
Yeah, so the whole blood and skull concept there. But yeah, I think you've convinced me. Slanesh could make a good running for it, but it's probably be Zeech.
Yeah, and then another thing too, why some of these, like the Night Lord specifically, didn't join a specific god. You have to look at their Primarch. So the Night Haunter was more fixated, or he was fixated on the fact that the Emperor was lying. Like he had the visions of like somebody was going to be, or the Emperor was going to send somebody to kill him. So from the very beginning, the conflict with the Night Haunter and the Emperor, or with the Imperium, is the Emperor. It's his dad, which is the same for the majority of them, but there's still that added like brutality of the butcher's nails for Karn. What's his name? Not Karn.
Khorne?
But what's the...
Karn the Betrayer?
No, the Primarch.
Angron.
Yeah. For Zinch, obviously, Magnus is already a sorcerer. What's his name? Mortarion. From the very beginning, they were supposed to be like just... he was supposed to have been risen, his planet, his homeworld was like super toxic, super waste, like a wasteland kind of thing.
Yeah, Barbarous is all fucked up with like poison mists and stuff.
But the point is that like the Night Haunter didn't have any like calling card for one of the four Chaos Gods. He had more of hatred for the Imperium because he knew that the Emperor was going to send an assassin to kill him. So I think that's another reason too. And then even if you look at like the other non-denominational Primarchs, like
Lorgar, Perturabo, who else we missing?
They all had initial fights with the Emperor. Like their gripe was with the Emperor, with their father, not really their environment. Whereas like, Magnus loved the Emperor. I think the Emperor and him had a conversation about like the universe and stuff like that. It was Zinch who really had to like twist fate in order to make Magnus, turn to chaos, even though he did nothing wrong. Whereas you don't have that with these why can't I think of the word when it's all four of them, or like
non-denominatory?
Yeah, what are they called?
They're just chaos worshippers.
Unaligned,
there
right?
You go. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not to say that just because they don't pledge themselves to a chaos god, they can't get the boons.
Right.
A lot of them do still become demon princes. They still have like flurries or other nightmarish demons following them in their ranks. Vashdor is a demigod that can also pledge fealty to one of these legions as well.
Yeah. Good question, though. And thank you so much for the questions. If you guys want to ask us more questions about orcs, since it is Orctober, please comment down in the comment section below. Don't forget to put a question in front of your question.
Because we get to those questions first. And subscribe. Keep those questions coming, and so will we. And as always, guys, it's been the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
And we are out of here.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.